I've been thinking a lot about bad spells recently. Well, three spells in particular: Witch Bolt, Crown of Madness, and the much maligned True Strike. These spells aren't terribly useful for the players. They're a bit too weak or situational, and the negative effects can be easily bypassed by enemies. But they can create interesting situations when the GM has the NPCs use them against the players. So, come with me as I make a case for these bad spells. Crown of Madness. Crown of Madness places a twisted, jagged crown on one humanoid's head, causing their eyes to glow with madness as they lash out and attack their allies if they get too close. This effect is cool as hell! Unfortunately, the effects of this can be undone by the target passing a will save that they get a chance to repeat at the end of each of their turns. The caster must also use their action to maintain the spell. Additionally, the effect only activates at the start of the becrowned player's turn, meaning that if they're not near an ally, the spell doesn't really do that much. For players, this is not an ideal use of their turns or their second level spell slots. In most situations, it's just not worth casting, especially because it doesn't work on most monsters. But let's think of how interesting it would be if the players had to deal with this effect. It throws a wrench into the fight. Unless everyone is spread out at the start of the fight, the targeted character is most likely going to be forced to attack a fellow party member. Additionally, the players now have to carefully consider their position or risk hurting or being hurt by an ally. This can be especially tricky if you have classes that benefit from being near your allies, like rogues or paladins. The players now have to decide if they're going to prioritize the source of the spell or prioritize other threats and just deal with the spell's potential consequences. Up next, Witch Bolt. From the spell's description, a beam of crackling blue energy lances out towards a creature within range, forming a sustained arc of lightning between you and the target. Make a ranged spell attack against that creature. On a hit, the target takes 1d12 lightning damage, and on each of your turns for the duration, you can use your action to deal 1d12 lightning damage to that target automatically. This is awesome. Unfortunately, the spell continues. The spell ends if you use your action to do anything else. The spell also ends if the target is ever outside the spell's range or if it has total cover from you. That's not great. A d12 is potentially good damage, and it's cool that it happens automatically each turn, but it takes your action to maintain that damage, and there are so many ways the spell can be shut down. But when a hostile NPC is doing the casting, all of those ways to shut down the spell become interesting options for the targeted player. Forcing the player to make tactical choices in the fight inherently makes the game more interesting. It gives players several options to be clever in how they want to foil the spell and still do what they want to on their turn. It also gives allies a chance to step up and help out their teammates by disrupting the Witch Bolt and saving them from that damage. Finally, we have True Strike. You spend your action to cast True Strike to gain advantage on your first attack on your next turn against a specific target. It also costs concentration, so if you get hit, the spell may fail. A spell that in most situations is just worse than attacking twice, but even True Strike can be a useful tool for GMs. I'll set the scene. The players are raiding a bandit camp when a big, hulking brute steps forward, signals you out, smiles, and points at you. You feel a ping of magic. He has just cast True Strike on you, and his next attack will be at advantage. Based on how he's holding that war club, he intends to make the most out of it. This can be terrifying for the player that is targeted. It's kind of like how in baseball when a batter calls their shot. And like the batter calling their shot, they better be able to back that claim up with a powerful swing. Having the enemy cast True Strike in this way shows the enemy's intention and gives the players a chance to disrupt that very powerful attack. This use of True Strike is obviously not an optimized choice. None of these examples are. But as a GM, you don't always have to make optimized choices while building your encounters, or how you run your encounters. I do wish these spells were better and a bit more balanced so players could benefit from their cool effects too. But just because something is weak or unoptimized doesn't mean it's useless in a game. I encourage GMs to think about things in your game not just from the perspective of how the players can use them, but how you can use these spells and ones like them to create fun and memorable encounters. Thanks for watching! We've seen, frankly, a shocking amount of support for the channel lately, and it has been greatly appreciated. I'm planning on making these animatics a bit more frequently, as they're one of my favorite types of video to make. So if you have any questions about TTRPGs, or a topic you'd like to see us cover in the future, let us know in the comments. Until next time.